Yeah, here we go for the 100th time. Hand grenade pins in every line. Throw them up and let something shine. Going out of my fucking mind. Filthy mouth, no excuse. Find a new place to hang this noose. String me up from atop these roofs. Knot it tight so I won't get loose. Truth is you can stop and stare. Run myself out and no one cares. Dug the trench out, lay down there with a shovel up out of reach somewhere. Yeah, someone pour it in. Make it a dirt dance floor again. Saying prayers and stop it out when they bring that chorus in. I bleed it out, digging deeper just to throw it away. I bleed it out, digging deeper just to throw it away. I bleed it out, digging deeper just to throw it away. Just to throw it away, just to throw it away. I bleed it out. Go, stop the show, choppy words in a sloppy.
Hey, what up guys, Dawson here. Today I got a new video for you. This is going to be the NHL 15 wishlist. This is going to be the GM mode edition. So everything in this wishlist is going to be about GM mode, and that's it. This may be a bit of a longer video, so I suggest getting some popcorn, some snacks, and get a deep seat here, boys. Alright, so we're going to start off with drafting. Alright, drafting. I feel like drafting is one of the most overlooked things in NHL GM mode. It really should be improved year 3, 4, and so on. Once you hit year 3, drafting is almost useless, and you basically might as well just trade your first and second round pick because they mean absolutely nothing. You get the best prospect you'll get is like a 3.5 gold star player, which doesn't even become an NHLer 5 years down the road. So it's really pointless, and I feel like they should really improve the prospect pool year 3 and 4 and so on. And it honestly is just really useless once you get that far, and it really needs to be improved. Alright, next thing. Make it so players in the second and third round are better. They don't have to be like amazing players, but 2.5 gold star players often don't get better, like they don't become NHLers, and I really feel like players in the second and third round normally in the NHL become NHLers at some point in their career, and I feel like it just doesn't happen as much as it should in NHL GM mode. So I feel like that should be improved. More second and third round picks that actually become NHLers, because it just doesn't happen often enough. Alright, next on the list, sleeper picks. I feel like this should be added. I feel like they tried to implement it a little bit into NHL 14, but it didn't really work out that great. In the first year, you kind of had some players that you could pick up in the second, third round. Julius Honka rings a bell. I'm pretty sure you can pick him up in like the third round, and he's a red 4.5 star player. So I mean, they tried to implement it a little bit, but it only really worked in the first round draft. So I feel like they should add that in. I mean, I feel like if you scout an area a lot, you can see the player's actual potential, and you kind of know what they're gonna be like, and what their stats are gonna look like, and their potential and all that. And if other teams didn't really scout there as much as you did, then you should be able to maybe steal him in the second, third, fourth round. You know. He doesn't have to be an amazing player, but I mean like a possible NHLer in 2 to 3, 4 years. And I feel like that should be added. That I feel like you guys tried to implement it this game, but it didn't work out as you guys thought it would. Alright, last thing I have on drafting. You should be able to draft players that are ready in year 1. For example, Nate McKinnon. He went first overall in the 2013 draft. He played the first year, and he got 63 points as an 18-year-old. I mean, I feel like you should draft players that are already ready. I mean, they don't have to be 87 overall. I mean, like 80 overall, 81, 82 overall. You know, players that could play on the third, second line, and, you know, they could be good, like kind of like Nate McKinnon was. And also, I feel like players should get better quicker. Some players just take forever to get better. I understand in the NHL that happens. Players take 4 or 5 years to get better, but not all of them. In NHL 14 and the past NHL games, prospects just take so long to get better. I feel like some of them should get better in 1, 2, 3 years, not 4, 5, 6 years, you know? I just feel like that should happen more often. It does happen time to time with some prospects, but it doesn't happen enough, and I feel like it should. Alright, just to recap over drafting. Make it so there are better players in the second and third round. They don't have to be amazing players, but just become NHLers in 2 to 5 years. Sleeper picks. If you do good scouting on an area and the other teams don't do scouting on that area, then you could possibly get a sleeper pick in the second to fifth round. Possible NHLer in 2 to 5 years. Alright, and some players should be ready year one. For example, Nate McKinnon. 63 points rookie year, 18 years old. And make players get better faster. I understand it takes some players longer to grow and get better, but some should be 80 to 85 overall after 1 to 2 years of minor/CHL when they're 19 to 21. Okay, so next we're going to talk about potential. I don't really have much to say about potential, but it needs to be worked on a little bit. First thing I want to say about it is players that are 4.5 Red Star potential should not be worse and have less trade value than players that are 3.5 Gold Star. It just doesn't make sense to me, and they never get better. It's honestly, players with 4.5 Red Star are pointless compared to players that have like 3.5 Gold Star. It makes absolutely no sense, and I don't know why they did it like that. Next and final thing, don't make it so easy to drop to red potential. In 2014, you guys made it so easy to drop to red, just from playing in the wrong line or position or whatever wherever you played them. And even if they had like a good season, like I've had players that have like 80-point seasons and they still drop to red star potential. It just makes no sense. You guys kind of patched it a little bit towards the end, halfway through the game, I guess you can say. But still, it doesn't make sense. They drop to red so easily, and then they're, like I said earlier, they're completely useless once they drop to red star. So just a quick recap on potential. Players that are 5.5 red star should still be better than players that are 3.5 green/gold star. And don't make it so easy for players to drop to red star, because that's just super annoying. Alright, next on our list we got scouting. One thing I would like to be implemented to scouting is let us send out multiple scouts. In the NHL they have many scouts, fucking 5, 6, 7 scouts, I don't know. But let us have 2 or 3 scouts so we can scout a few different areas. Maybe they're not as good as like the normal scouts are now, so it's not as easy to scout places, but still let us have a few so when it comes draft time we don't have just like the WHL and the OHL scouted, for example. Alright, now that you gave us those 2 or 3 scouts, allow us to scout one certain player. For example, we know Connor McDavid is going to be good, so allow us to scout him and him only. What this will open up is it'll allow us to see his stats better and his potential come draft time. And this will help tremendously if you want to scout just one player and you know you want that player, you're looking for a certain player type. This will help a lot instead of just going for certain general areas. Alright, to recap over scouting, allow us to send out multiple scouts, not just one, possibly 2 or 3, maybe 4, who knows. Make it so we can scout a certain player. Example, we know Connor McDavid is going to be good, so we can watch him and it'll give more accurate stats and potential. Alright, next we got contracts. So one thing I'd like you guys to add would allow us to extend contracts and side players mid-season so we don't have to worry about it during free agency and all that nonsense. Make it easier to sign depth players. For example, 80 overall guys that you're going to play on the 3rd, 4th line, they know they're going to be on the 3rd, 4th line. Allow us to sign them for like $1 mil, 1.5, not 2, 3 mil. Sometimes depth players, especially the good depth players that you want to play on that 3rd, 4th line that are going to be real good grinders back there, they normally want a lot, upwards of 2 to 3 mil. And once you have a bunch of those and you got the studs on the first, second line, and then you got a stud goalie, it's kind of hard to sign some of the players. So it'd be nice for depth players to be a little bit cheaper. Make it so players negotiate a little more. In the current NHLs, basically all you do is you take off 15% of their contract and they'll take it every time. Now, what I'd like to see is, say if you're a struggling team and you're not doing so great, you're at the bottom of the standings every year, and players might not want to play on your team anymore, or they'll ask for more. So there's that. And then say if you're a cup contender, you won the cup last year, you're a good team, players may take a little bit less just to play on your team and to be on that cup contender team. Just make it so we can negotiate a little more with our contracts, just to add a little more depth to the game. Alright, to recap over contracts, make it easier to sign depth players, like third and fourth liners. Sometimes just ask for too much, and it gets out of hand when you're trying to sign them. Second, allow us to extend contracts and sign players mid-season. And third, lastly, add more negotiations. For example, say if you're a cup contender, they might ask for less money just so they can stay on your team. And say if you're a struggling team, bottom of the leaderboards, then they might ask for more just to stay on your team. Alright, next up we got trading and trading block. And one thing I'd like to be added into the trading block is, if a team is willing to give them up, they show up as a red name in the trading block instead of having to go to the trade screen to see if a team is willing to give that player up. It's just easier to see, and sometimes you're looking for a player that you can get for cheap and the team is wanting to give them up. So it just helps out the trading block. Alright, next, I'd like players with red star potential to have a little bit more trade value. As of right now, it's kind of low. Like, I'm showing a few players right now. They're just really low trade value for having 4 red star, 4.5 red star potential. It just doesn't make sense. Alright, next, this is just a little minor improvement, but for later years, make the trade value a little higher. I know why you guys did this, so people just couldn't trade their later picks and not worry about them. But I feel like they're still first round picks, and I feel like they should still have a little bit higher trade value. As of right now, it's just a little bit low. Alright, to recap trading and trading block, add trade value to players with the red star potential. In the trading block, add if the team is willing to give up the player, just give them their red name. And make first and second round picks more trade value in later years, 2 to 3 years down the road. Alright, last but not least, we have the smaller details. These are just random details that I would like to be implemented, and they could help the game a lot. Alright, first we got coaching staffs. First, the head coach, assistant coach, medical staff, and so on. It'd be nice to be able to fire your coach, fire your assistant coach, get new coaches, kind of like they have like free agency during the end of the year. Say if you fire your head coach, then there should be like a free agency pool of NHL coaches right now. And the coaches that are looking for jobs will be on that list. And certain coaches will give better stats or something like that. I don't know. I haven't really worked out this idea, but I think it's a good idea. Like, for example, say Tortorella. He doesn't have a job right now, so he'd be in the free agent pool list for coaches. And say he gives +5 to all defensive stats or something. I don't know. But it's just kind of an idea I've had, and it'd be cool to see it implemented. Next, I'd like to see the playoff celebration, Stanley Cup celebration. As of right now, it's been the same one for like 5 years. I don't know. It's been the same bland playoff one, and it shows like 5 players lifting the cup, and then during the team picture, it's like 10 players and the starting goalie. Like it's just super bland. It needs to be updated. You guys should be updating it since it's 2000 or since you're starting a whole new engine and all that. And yeah, I'll be surprised if it's not updated, but I just thought I'd leave that in there just because it's been the same one for like 5 years now. Next, I would like to see a spectate game option. This would be really nice for watching the playoff celebration that I just talked about. For when you win the cup in GM mode, I don't know, it's just satisfying watching it, even though the celebration ceremony sucks. But it's still nice watching it. And when you're in the simulate game mode, say in the last 10 seconds you can hit spectate game and you can watch the final 10 seconds and then the ceremony, or you can just spectate the game from the beginning right as the clip I started, where it asks you sim game, play game, and then on the top it'll be like spectate game. So that'd be nice to see, but yeah. Alright, so the next and final detail I have would be player emotion. And what I mean by this is, say you've had a player on your team for 5-6 years and he really wants to win the cup and you haven't won it yet, and he asks for a trade. Say like Jason Spezza just did this year. So he asked for a trade and you basically got to give it to him, That'd be nice to see player emotion, have interviews with them maybe, I don't know. But just the asking for trade thing would be kind of cool to see. It adds a little more depth to the game, and yeah, it'd just be cool to see. All right, to recap, smaller details, coaching staffs. Add them to the game. Add like a free agency pool of coaches. Maybe they give your team better stats. Who knows? Updated playoff celebrations. They haven't been updated in a long time. It'd be nice to see them. You got a whole new edge out, so I mean you should have a new playoff celebration, but yeah, hopefully you guys do it. Third, add spectate game option. This would be nice. Say you want to watch that playoff celebration, or you just want to watch a game, I don't know. It'd be nice to see to have a spectate game option. Fourth, add player emotion. Maybe a player doesn't want to play for your team anymore, he's played there for a long time, he wants a switch up, he wants a trade. And yeah, the ask for a trade is basically the same thing. Maybe you have a few bad seasons and the player wants to be on a cup contender, for example, Ryan Kessler or Jason Spezza. Alright, so that basically concludes my GM wish list. In the description I will have pictures to all the details, so just click on them if you want to see them. And I just want to thank you guys for watching. This took me a long time to make this. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys for watching again, man. I really appreciate it.